Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, CL, what's happening? Hey, you're
Good
a rock star.
Good morning, Monica.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, CL.
What's up, you guys?
How you guys doing today? We're trying to get our morning going. I know, like some of you, like CL, you're already moving along with your day.
Exactly.
We're
over here on the slow West Coast. We're always behind everybody with.
That's exactly how I feel.
Exactly. Oh, are we stopping already? So anyway, good morning. Hey, it's Thursday. I love Thursday because now we're not in the middle of the week anymore.
Yeah.
And everybody breathe a sigh of relief. We're on the downtrend. Dun, 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 dun.
Heading into the weekend.
That's right. So we're excited this week because our daughter's birthdays. They're twins and they have the same birthday. So double birthdays all around. Yep. And so we're doing that this weekend. So that's very exciting.
Hopefully it's
not crappy outside. Yeah. So we were like the other day thinking, shouldn't we just take this week off every year? Because we have May the 4th. That's a very serious holiday.
Very serious.
And then Cinco de Mayo, the holiday of your people. and another excuse to eat Mexican food.
Yeah. And then
their birthday.
And
then
Mother's Day.
Oh, and Mother's Day. Well, I forget about that.
So
I'm a mom. I don't know.
This is when we should be taking our
spring break. It should. Yes.
What are we doing?
4 holidays in 1 week. Like,
right.
Aren't we just going to a beach somewhere and being like, let's do that?
Well, I think, yeah, CL, he had the right idea.
What?
Was it last week? I saw that him and his wife went to the beach, and
you dang right.
Everybody seems to be going to the beach.
Pretty much everyone I know right now is at the beach.
Except us.
Yeah, except us. Well, we live in Washington. You go to the beach here, and it's like
it's a different beach.
I'm at the ocean. I'm here to eat seafood. That's what I'm here to do.
Basically.
So we're talking about laughter this week. So we're off to a good start this morning. And this is such an amazing week so far because it's been fun. Like, I just feel like can't every week be us just talking about we got jokes? That would be my favorite.
Yeah, that would
be my favorite. So before we get going too far, though, I want to make sure you guys know about 2 links that you should be aware of before you start commenting. You guys are already commenting in our group and things like that. If you are watching from our group, our Facebook group, that's a private heart disease support group. So that is going to be a private group. And so StreamYard doesn't really show us the comments. You have to make sure you click that StreamYard link in the description. And what that does is just connect your name to our broadcast so we can see your comments, because all the comments where we're broadcasting come into one place so we can see them all. Make sure we can interact with you. So make sure you click that link if you're in our free group. Everybody else also has a devotional link. So that link just takes you to the YouVersion Bible app where you can follow along with us on the actual devotional that we're doing any given week. It'll take you to that specific one, so you don't have to try to search for it. You can either do that on mobile, where it will prompt you to download the app if you haven't already, or you can do this on desktop, on your computer or laptop. That way you don't have to download an app and you can follow along on there. I had a question yesterday come in where it was, is there a group on the app, or I didn't find the group. There's no group. It's just the app so that you can follow along on the actual devotional. So if you want to go deeper, you want to go more like a little further with it, you want to read more, that is provided for you to be able to do your own separate study on what we're doing this week. And so a little bit of a lead for you that way. But no, there's no group on there or anything like that. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah. So if you are new to our broadcast, my name is Javie.
I'm Jessica.
And we are with Underdog Ninja. Underdog Ninja stands for 3 things, and that is faith, character, and action. Those 3 things are our standards. Those are our pillars to help us live a full life with heart disease. We come here every Tuesday through Saturday with these devotionals, with that first step, with that foundational piece.
Right.
Focusing on God's word, focusing on what God is saying to us in this fight against heart disease, the struggle that we're going through, the day-to-day things that we're going through. How is he speaking to us, and what does he have? What kind of words of encouragement does he have for us? What kind of clarity does he have? Those are the types of things that we try to bring and share with you every morning. And, like I've said before, we've been doing this for years. Throughout my whole battle with this disease, this is the one piece that we have consistently done over the years. And we've found that this helps us get out of bed and start our day on good
on the right note.
Right.
Yep.
And it really helps set the tone for our approach for the rest of the day. So we've been since last year, we've been wanting to do this and come forward and share this with you.
Yeah.
And
it's been amazing.
It's been an amazing journey.
Yeah, we've been doing this for several months now, and this is one of the most rewarding things I've done.
August will be 1 year.
August will be 1 year. Yeah, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
This is something that has really benefited us in addition to you guys. So this has been such a blessing. Hey, Annie's here.
Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Annie. My laughter friends. Oh my gosh, don't choke. So
almost lost a plot.
Show everybody your shirt. This is one of his favorite shirts. He designed this.
Yeah.
And this is, can they see it?
Yep.
This is him and here, I'm going to show.
And the twins.
And the twins. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And it's him and the girls. Superhero dad.
Yeah.
So
one of my favorites.
It's one of, I was going to say, it's a fun shirt.
I created this when they were
little. Yeah. All right, you guys, let's jump into it. This is day 3 of our devotional on laughter. And we're going to get going. Okay, so it says, who are you calling old? This should be good. Okay, so it says, want to feel younger again? Or young again? Yes. There is another way besides checking out the cosmetic aisle in your local department store or trying to catch the order information of all those infomercials with their endless promises of youth, vitality, and magically erased under-eye circles. You know those under-eye circles aren't magically erased, right? Just making sure we break everybody's spirit on that. Oh. They're not. All you need to do is turn to the Old Testament. When you compare your own forest of birthday candles to Methuselah's 969 or Noah's 950 or even Adam's 930, you might not feel so bad. At least you're not 930, babe.
That's right.
Can you imagine what we would look like if we were 930? I always think, what did those people look like? Like when they were like, what's a teenager to them? I mean, how old did they look when they were
a youthful 100?
I know.
I mean, they were like pups. 100.
I know. You're just a young 100er. He's just a century old rookie. Yeah. And although Abraham and Sarah ended up making history for having a baby at 90 and 100 respectively, the Bible says Sarah laughed when she first heard that she was going to have a child after all of her years of waiting in Genesis 21:6. Granted, none of us are going to live to see our 900th birthday these days, and we're probably not going to have a baby when we're 90, but more and more people are making it well past 100. Recently, I read about one lady who died at the tender young age of 117. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, that'd be crazy. I checked my pulse, and that lady wasn't me, so I went ahead and got out of bed. What did this woman say was her secret for living such a long life? She said she has eaten 3 eggs every day for 90 years. Did you notice a treadmill wasn't even mentioned? Nor was it a salad bar. I'm just saying. We can learn a lot from these collectors of birthdays. Many who have made it over 100 year, the 100-year mark say their longevity is due to a healthy sense of humor, and I believe it. Laughter could be the elusive fountain of youth. After all, just look at the ages of these comedians at the time of their deaths. Bob Hope, 100. George Burns, 100. Phyllis Diller, 95. Milton Berle, 93. Don Rickles was 90. Jonathan Winters was 87. Joan Rivers was 81. Danny Thomas was 79. And Lucille Ball was 77. Maybe they knew something important that the rest of us could learn. A healthy diet, exercise, and regular medical checkups are all very good, but if you want to last, you got to laugh. When an extra candle gets added to your birthday cake this year, don't dread it, celebrate it, and promise yourself that no matter what, you're not going to miss out on a single laugh. Psalm 126:2. I love this. Genesis 21:6 says, and Sarah declared, God has brought me laughter. All who hear about this will laugh with me. And Psalms 126:2 says, we were filled with laughter and we sang for joy. And the other nations said, what amazing things the Lord has done for them. Yeah, this is absolutely 100% a reflection of our spirit and the biggest stress killer of all.
Yeah.
Laughter kills stress immediately.
That's why you're going to live forever, because
I'm going to live forever.
I know it.
Well, the women in my family tend to live forever.
Well, that's why you're going to outlive everyone, because of your sense of humor. But bring up that list a second, because there's some. I do want to bring something into perspective, and I know that they were joking around. Okay,
what's the list?
But the thing is that even though they're saying this lady lived 117 years old, look, there's some people that live an unhealthy life. They eat things. They could eat anything. They don't gain weight. They don't have really any serious health battles. They don't have cancer. They don't have heart disease.
They have amazing genetics.
Right. They have some amazing genetics. Their DNA, it gives them the ability to fight off a lot of these things. Yeah. But unfortunately, most of us, our cells, our DNA aren't that way. It's weakened in some way, and it is depending on what we're putting into it, it has certain weaknesses. And if we are putting in junk, those things come out. If we're abusing our body, those things come out. And so I just want to emphasize that even though there are some people that they eat, like they said, she ate
3 eggs a day.
Ate 3 eggs a day. Doesn't mean that that's good for everyone. Okay.
Right.
We emphasize good nutrition here, whole wellness, right? Not just one specific thing. We try to look at all sides, but you have to figure out what's going on with you. If you're fighting, whether it's obesity, heart disease, diabetes, things are going wrong.
Yeah.
So we need to flood our body. That's why we talk about flooding our body with good nutrition. Also, we talk about getting rid of old bad habits. And what I want to point out is people like some of these people that they lived a good long time, but Lucille Ball, I'm pretty sure she died of lung cancer. Why? Because she was a chain smoker.
She smoked like a chimney.
Some of these people, they were alcoholics. Even though they were alcoholics, they lived into their 70s, 80s years old.
Right.
And the whole point is that the humor kept them alive. Imagine if they didn't have humor.
No, and that's a great point. So
right. But so if they didn't have humor in their life and that fed them, they probably would have died a lot sooner with those same habits. But imagine if they didn't have those habits. Imagine a person like Lucille Ball. She was a brilliant person. I mean, we saw her on the TV screen and things like that. But her mentality, business wise, and what
brilliant.
she did to her community of actors, she was a huge advocate for women and for the business itself. And so imagine if the world would have been able to have her a little bit longer, but because of her habits, unfortunately, it was I want to say it was shortened.
Hi, good morning, Rita.
Good morning.
So I wanted to comment on that because that's a great point. So what you're saying is, if I'm hearing you correctly, is basically that all of these things are important for a reason. So we're bringing up laughter this week because it is just as important as food and exercise.
Yes.
The stress management, because if you think about it, we can go up and down, right? With our food and our fitness and trying to figure all this stuff and trying to maintain regular life. And like life comes at us, sickness happens, vacations happen, emergencies happen, whatever, like people show up at our door and we don't expect it. Like all these things get in our way of these habits that we try to, keep going all the time. And so there's kind of a ebb and flow of that over our lifetime. But laughter and stress relief and having an overall disposition of humor and lightheartedness and this perspective that we can keep all the time, no matter what's going on, that we can choose that and then intentionally laughing a lot and having humor in our lives can get us way further than this constant like beating ourselves with the nutrition and fitness. Does that make sense? So it's like all the time. So when you're talking about these people, wow, if they would have just not even had their habits and they would have had laughter and this perspective and countenance about them with good habits, they would have lived even longer. So when we're talking about the heart disease community, I mean, think about how healthy for your body in the healing process, if you start implementing, better nutrition, wherever you are in that journey, anything's better than nothing. Fitness is the same way. And then introducing, this mindset of just finding humor in things, getting lightening up, getting the humor out of everything, watching funny things, listening to funny people, getting in funny conversations, laughing more with your friends and your kids and your spouse.
Yeah.
And you're doing that all the time. Your body starts to feel this relief and this lifting of the burden of the sickness, of the illness, of the disease, any disease. Okay. Because our bodies, look, your brain runs your body. I think most of us forget. We act like our brain is separate from our body and our mindset is separate from our physical health. Your brain is the control room for your physical body.
Yes.
So
it controls all the chemistry.
Anything you're doing with your brain is going to affect your physical body.
Yes,
I'm not saying you're going to grow more arteries by thinking about it. I'm not talking about that.
No.
I'm just saying that it's just science. It's science. If you just, get into a better place in your mind, your body will follow it.
Well, I think mindset is really that
your life.
Right. The word mindset has been abused so much that people they become numb to it. But the whole idea of having the correct mindset and having a positive mindset really goes. Yes, it's scientific. Yes, it's we talk about our kinetic system, right? The brain is part of that kinetic system. Yeah. The brain is part of what tells your body to move. The brain is what tells your body to release certain hormones, right? Whether it's a hormone of depression, okay, or a hormone that feeds us, that gives us happy and makes us feel good and joy. Those are all hormones that are released when we put ourselves in situations that gives us joy. Whether it's going out and doing your garden or taking a hike or spending time with your loved ones, if that brings you joy, that your brain is telling itself, this is what I like. I want this. I want more of this. Yeah. Right. It does the opposite when you are trying to soothe it yourself. Say, for example, you have a broken heart. Okay. And you just keep going. You listen, you're starting to listen to the music that kind of brings you back to those moments of heartbreak
in your car,
right?
in a parking lot, and you're I love this song.
Or you continue to put yourself in an environment that just brings this sadness. And look, that's why we go to bad habits. That's why people do drugs or drinking, because your brain says, I need more of that because I'm in pain. And I need more of that.
Can I touch on that really quick?
Go ahead.
So that's actually what he's describing is actually called, and I wanted to bring this up because, and I'll explain it very quickly and simply because I don't want to dive into it too deep. It's called the RAS. It's the reticular activating system.
Yes.
In your brain, this is a real system. I wanted to bring this up because it's not just woo-woo talk or some theory. This is a real system in your brain. And the way this works is this, and you'll know I'm right when I explain it. Have you ever went to buy a car and you're looking at this car and it's your favorite car and you're like, this is the one I want. And then let's say you don't buy it and you're kind of waiting and you're shopping around. Have you noticed that you see that car everywhere now? Everywhere. Or it's the kind of dog you want to buy. And all of a sudden you see that dog everywhere. It does this with everything. It does this on purpose. So your brain has this system built in because think about it. If you tried to focus on everything you see every day, as something as important to you, you wouldn't be able to do that. There's no way I could focus on the 5 million things that are around me everywhere all the time as something that's important or significant that I need to focus on. So your brain has a filtering system, the RAS, where it says, what's important to you? We're going to focus on those things so that you can actually manage a reasonable amount of thoughts and focus and subjects during that day. So whatever is the most important thing to you, that's what we're going to focus on. Your brain filters this constantly. So whatever you do and say, your brain says, oh, they're doing that a lot. Oh, they're saying that a lot. Oh, that's what they're watching a lot of. That's important. Find more of that. And it could be positive. It could be negative. If you've ever noticed, if you're in a you say, I'm in this like rut or a funk. You ever say, oh, I'm in a funk and I don't know why. Why am I in this funk? Everywhere I go, I see all these negative things. Nothing's working out. And then you like get up in the morning and you're mad. And then you're mad to the next thing you do. And then you're like, oh, I can't wait to go to work because work's going to suck because I got to see so-and-so, man. And then here's my loud kids. And then here's this, oh, traffic, great. You know, and it's like you're constantly looking. It's like you can't get out of that cycle. It's a cycle. It's because your brain says, ooh, that's what they want to. They want to see what makes them mad.
Right.
And it sounds funny, but it's a real thing. So when you do that opposite with laughter, imagine if everything was funny. So that's why I see humor in everything, because at whatever point, I guess in my childhood, or I've always been this way, but I've always looked for the humor. So my brain tells me, this is what's important to you. This is what's important to her, guys. Like there's little people in your brain, like on that movie, Upside Down or Inside Out.
Inside Out. Upside down, inside out, right side up, I don't know.
Right side up, backwards, sideways. So it's like there's little people in there just deciding what to do based on your what you're giving it, right? So my brain will say, okay, humor is important. So we're going to find the humor in this, or I'll find God in everything. Like, well, you're the same way. Like, oh, this is such a biblical type message. This is great. I love how this is good versus evil. Like we love that whole, contrast. And so we'll find that like in everything because that's important to us. So your brain will show you the things you're saying, more of this, give me more of this. Mm-hmm. You can control that by saying that to yourself and saying, okay, I'm going to do more of this. And I'm going to continue doing and saying and seeing and focusing on this one thing. And your brain will start to do it. Okay. The other thing that works alongside the RAS is these neural passageways. So basically all this is, without getting too sciencey, is just your brain cells make actual physical connections. They grow together when you make a connection. So that's when people go, oh, you made a connection. No, you actually did. Like your kids, they say, oh, they made a connection, in class with math class or whatever.
And they get it.
Because they actually did make a connection in their brain, and it's called a synapse. And so that grows together and creates a pathway where it's a thought path now. So you can make and break those. When people say it takes 21 days to make or break a habit, it's because it takes 21 days to make or break one of those connections. So that's why it's a scientific thing. It's not just something people say. So when you're talking about making new habits, right, and you want to do it for 21 days, this also works with thought patterns. So if you're always thinking something negative, people go, well, start thinking positive. It doesn't mean just start being happier. No, you can forcibly say, all right, if I'm thinking this negative thing when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to purposefully say no to that thought and say, this is an amazing thing. That's why people do gratitude journals, because they're forcing their brain to think, what was I grateful for today? What made me happy today? What was funny today?
Yeah.
Because they're trying to train their thought patterns. This works.
And I know it seems uncomfortable. It may be even stretching you out of your comfort zone, mm-hmm. right? But there's a purpose for it. It's a way to get your brain trained for these new thoughts. And sometimes when we're so stuck in this certain thought pattern, that we're so mm-hmm. stuck into that dark space,
right?
It's really hard to shift gears. And so when you're doing like something like a gratitude journal or something like that, you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Because you feel at first
like it's not doing anything.
It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It's not really helping you. I would say if that's what you're doing to help shift your mind to more positive thought, continue to see it through.
Yeah.
For 21 days.
I've
consistently and be meaningful towards it.
Yeah. Being genuine, right? Don't just say, I'm going to write something down. No, actually things you're totally grateful for, because it has to be genuine or it won't work. So, because it has to be true. So I've had times where I've done this and it has only taken a couple of weeks, 21 days. It was something that wasn't really dug in too much. It was just like a new thing. And I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to switch, right? It's like a new habit or a new pattern. Right. Have you noticed that some habits are just easier than others? I've had thought patterns I've had to reverse from like trauma from childhood and all kinds of things. It took me months, sometimes a couple of years of doing this. Okay. I didn't do this. I didn't get this thought pattern in a year. I got it over my whole life. And it was maybe something that was never addressed or whatever. This happened in therapy one time when I was addressing some of my childhood stuff. And man, it took me a while to get some of that out. And so you have to trust the process. Well, I was just going to say, in the meantime, while you're dealing with the big stuff, the little stuff like laughter and filling your mind with things that you enjoy, that you think are hilarious, that you think that just light you up. They're not the hard stuff. They're not the like, I'm going to replace this built-in system I have in my brain with a whole new one. And it's just the undertaking. Sure, you're going to do that. But what about all the stuff you could be doing that's just lighthearted and it doesn't take work, and all of a sudden it's just stuff you want to do? Fortunately, laughter is one of those habits that it doesn't take work to implement. It's not like, oh, I've got to give up all my negative thoughts now and be happy and laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with healthy eating.
Who doesn't want to feel joy?
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to be happy? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to change your nutritional habits, right? It's hard. It's a lot harder. It's hard to be disciplined enough to work out every day.
Yeah.
Those things take a lot of discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't take as much discipline to be happy, to find the humor in everything around you, to find joy in everything around you.
Yeah.
It really isn't. I mean, I know that some days with some children
and some medical things,
it's hard to find joy, but really, if you can find something at least positive,
well, that's why we say
each of the moments.
That's why we say shows and movies and stuff. Look, you don't have to try to muster up happiness or muster up laughing. Like you're sitting in your chair at home in your easy chair and you're like, oh, okay. Like, I'm just going to force myself to laugh like some crazy person. No, find something that you don't even have to try. Like, why aren't we just putting stuff in front of our eyes that creates that in us without even trying? You know, what about a good friend where you guys like whatever it takes, like you have coffee or you have a lunch or whatever, and just talk about the stuff that even if it's just, oh, good old days, I don't know, whatever makes you crack up. I have friends where maybe we don't have anything new going on, but like we get in a room and we have old stories. This is like with some of our family members. Like sometimes we get together and just talk about the same stories every time. And it's like hilarious. And we're crying, we're laughing so hard because we just love to get together and just crack up. Like that's the whole point. I mean, one time, your Thea, like she came to visit and you were like, do you realize we surprised him for his 50th birthday? His Thea came and he thought something was super weird. Like something was up. Like he's like, why are you hiding everything? Cause I never hide anything. He's like got access to my phone and my emails. Doesn't matter. We both do. But for whatever reason, he thought that cause I all of a sudden was like hiding emails and text messages. So, as a guy, he's like, what's going on, right? But he didn't want to say anything. Meanwhile, I'm surprising him for his 50th. And I told him, never again question me. I was surprising you. But anyway, his Thea and his sister show up at our house and I had lied because I had gone to the airport to get them. And I told them that I took the girls to the library and that they had a surprise for his birthday. So I like put their gifts on the counter. I have a video of this. It's amazing. He cried. Anyway, so the whole point of me telling you the story is because his Thea is like his favorite person to just sit and chat with, because when he grew up, like they would just sit around the table and talk. And he's like, you don't understand. The gift wasn't that you surprised me with somebody I love. The gift was that my Thea was there to chat with me like old times.
Yeah.
And it didn't really matter what they talked about. It is whatever, but just chatting around the table.
Yeah.
And so, it could be the people you're around. It could be the old stories. It could just be the experience that fills you up of just, maybe it's nostalgia. I know there's like old movies that I love to watch. Man, the other day we watched, it wasn't even a funny movie, but I was in drama when I was a kid, shocker, and in high school. And I was in this play called The Music Man. And I had never seen any of the like renditions of this, like movies or whatever, because I just didn't. I don't know. I saw the like Broadway stuff, but I didn't even realize they made a remake of it in 2003, like a newer version. And I got all like about it because I saw it the other day. And
throughout the whole movie.
the whole movie. I was like, and so, cause I knew every song and when you're practicing a play, it's just like, it drills into your brain. So anyway, it wasn't a funny movie, but I was dying the whole time and they were all cracking up at me because they hadn't seen it and they loved it. But I mean, the whole time it was just ridiculous. I was watching it like a 4-year-old. And that just brought me total joy because it's one of my favorite things are these old nostalgic things.
Well, I mean, again, thinking about joy, thinking opposed to our sadness, those when you're talking about those connections, I want to go back to the connections because it seems there are some things that some habits we could just kick with no problem. some thought patterns we could just get rid of, no
Mhm.
problem. But there are some things that just continue to come back, or it's
Yeah,
very hard
they're
to
like-
get rid of. And those are those connections in our brains that are like ruts in
Yeah.
our brains, right? You've created this habit
Mhm.
for years.
Yep.
You've worked this connection for years.
Yeah.
You do this. I think this.
This is just
do
who
that.
I am.
Right.
Those
And
thoughts.
that's exactly that's exactly where that comes from. Well,
Yeah.
this is just who I am.
This is just
and
what my
this is how
family
it's gonna
does.
be.
Yeah.
Whether it's good or bad, this is how it is.
Look at CL says Javie is the Hulk. He doesn't smash. So I mean,
I'm brown. I'm not green.
I'm proud.
but
I love chatting with Thea. Reminds me of how her and her dad used to.
I'm the brown Hulk.
He's the brown Hulk. The brown Hulk. You see?
Oh.
Your cousin says,
oh yeah.
I love chatting with Thea. Reminds me of how her and dad would drink coffee and chat.
Exactly.
Can't wait till July. Yeah, till our cheeks start. Exactly.
Exactly right. And that's what that moment really brought me back to.
Morning at the workplace, I used to put number 10 or positive words in my face to de-stress. In your face. Yeah, you have to put it like in your face.
On purpose, right?
Yeah.
You have to
be so intentional with this sometimes.
Yeah, especially when you're really in a high stressed environment.
Yeah.
You know, one of the habits I had to really change was and what you're talking about, I was going to work where I knew I was going to be stressed all day.
He was already like
I knew
preparing
that
for
I'm
it.
going to walk into a stressful environment, and a lot of my calls I would get called out on.
Right.
People are upset. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you're going to walk into that high stress environment, and so I know that. But on my way there, what am I doing? I'm rushing out the door. Okay, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
I have to go face traffic. I hate traffic. That's not going to be good.
Hates traffic.
And then on the way there to pass the time, I'm listening to the latest news and what's going on in the world, blah, blah, blah.
That's not stressful.
And that's just that. Yeah. And for a long time, I didn't realize that I was doing all these things that fed my negative attitude. And then someone just kind of brought these things to my attention, the things I was doing, and slowly I started shedding these things off.
Yeah, so that's a great point.
And then when I would go to work, my attitude's completely different. I'm able to deal with my customers in a whole different way. I have a different set of clarity.
Mm-hmm.
I could approach them in a whole different way, which then set my tone for the whole.
Yeah, that's a great point. So I want to talk about that a little bit. So number one, practical things that he did to change the habit, right? So I'm going to go into this stressful situation and I'm literally just driving for 2 hours to commute. What am I doing during that time? So depending on the day and his mood, he would do one of like three things. So instead of listening to like talk radio or news, he switched to comedy, like stand-up comedy, worship music, or audiobooks.
Yeah, audiobooks was
huge.
Really great.
And I mean, come on, like when else are you listening to audiobooks? Like he's just there for like 2 hours. He like consumed books.
Right. And I listened to books that engage me, you know, the things that challenged me to grow, to help me to see things in a new perspective, the things that really helped my mind and can create new connections. Right.
And he did. I mean, he changed completely. Like, I mean, his like, mindset, his frame of mind, his whole perspective shifted very quickly because of what he was consuming mentally.
It's funny because I'm in the car, I'm listening to this audiobook and I hear something just boom, brilliant, explosion. My brain is just, and I get on the phone. I call you immediately.
Yeah, he would call me immediately. Guess what I just read on this book?
Yeah. Gotta hear this, blah, blah, blah. And I just rattle off. And she's like, that's great. Well, you know, and she has the kids, she's homeschooling. So she's trying to deal with the kids and then also deal with,
they're
people
waiting for me to like teach them.
And I'm
something.
like, blah, 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 you know.
But it was so amazing to, I would see, that's the thing.
Good times.
I was way happier that's why I stayed on the phone. I was so much happier to hear that you than the you that would call me and just be like, I'm going to burn the freeway down.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't healthy at all and helpful for anybody.
Right.
So imagine though, like you said, this is the other point I wanted to make. And we've seen so many people make this shift, and it's absolutely powerful, because this is what I do with laughter, right? This is what a lot of people do with their newfound like perspective and things. Is what do they start doing? They start changing the tone of every room they're in, whether it's virtual or physical.
Yes.
And they start becoming the thermostat instead of the thermometer. So instead of adjusting to whatever's going on around you, you become the thermostat. You control the room. You control the atmosphere. You control the mood and the environment in which you're in. So being the person that adjusts everybody else when you walk into a room, like after so many years of being who I am, I can confidently say now that I could probably turn any room around.
I've seen you do it. I've seen you do it so many times. It's natural.
I don't even think I realize I'm doing it.
No, but I've seen that happen. And it's just because of who you are and how you approach things. Right. It's not that,
it's not that I'm coming in. No, I don't. And it's not that I'm coming in with like a comedy routine. I'm not like performing. I just have gotten to a point where I'm really good at listening to people, hearing them, and helping them shift their perspective, or even in the moment, in a way that I'm not even telling them to do that. They just are. They just navigate towards wherever I'm at, just based on helping people see things in a better way. So I guess is that
it's great. So many years ago, we went. I had to go on a business trip to New York City, and so I went to New York City. I was staying in New Jersey. And I that's where I was staying, and
I know why you're telling this story now.
Anyway, I was staying there, and there was there were restaurants near my hotel room that I would go into, but there was this one place that I absolutely loved because it was a small restaurant,
mom and pop,
and it was this mom and pop place, but it really they seemed to know everybody and everything else.
Was it Italian? I think an Italian restaurant.
Yeah. And it was just a really, really good atmosphere. But at the time, I'm not really saying much to people. I'm just I like to watch the environment. I like to watch what's going on around me, and I get a lot of joy out of that. So, but in trying to communicate with these people, they just weren't. I wasn't making that connection with them like I wanted. I wanted connection. I see in them making connections with all these people. I wanted that. So I tried, and it just wasn't happening. Right. And so I flew her out because I was there for a few weeks. So I flew her out over the weekend, and she comes in, and
best trip we've ever taken.
And we went and we did all kinds of stuff in New York City, but I wanted her to take her to this restaurant. And because they had good food, good atmosphere. So I took her there. And within 5 minutes, she had best friends. She had everybody talking in that restaurant.
Well, and the funniest part. Okay, so those of you who don't know me, I'm an accent junkie.
Yes.
I love I love accents. Like not only, even if I can't do the accent, I'm just like, keep talking and tell me a bedtime story. Like I want to hear your accent. And I have favorite ones. I love Australian. Anyway, but I can't do an Australian accent very well, but I can do accents, right? And I do them like in a comedy way, like not actually trying to do it.
But you do it naturally and don't even know it.
And I don't even know it. So because I'm hearing it and then it verbally comes out. So we're sitting in this restaurant and they go, "Are you from here?" And he looks at me like, he looks at me, looks at her, and he goes, "No, she's my wife. We live over in this place." And then, she flew out. And she goes, "Really? Because you don't have an accent." And he looks at me, and I look at him, and we're like, "What?"
I'm like, wait a second. She thought I had an accent because I wasn't from Jersey. So therefore, I had an accent.
So apparently, I had matched their accent in such a natural way that they thought I was a local. And I was like, yes, my dream has come true.
But it was so frustrating to me because you just like clicked with these people and connected with these people on a whole different level. And it was just your humor and the way you were conducting yourself. So look,
laughter and countenance, like the whole point of telling these stories is that it can become who you are. Right. You don't have to try to be this way if you continually feed yourself. Whatever comes out of you is what you've been feeding yourself, by the way. Mm-hmm. So that includes your food and stuff, sure, like that's your health is a reflection, or your overall health. Okay. Daily is a reflection of what you're putting in your body. Sure. You are what you eat or whatever, but you also are what you eat here.
Yes,
so when
yes.
you, especially here, actually, even more so, way more so than food, your health is fickle and the food doesn't always do what you want it to do, whatever. We can all argue about it, but there's no argument. What you put in your mind is what comes out.
Absolutely.
Period.
Right.
No matter what. If you are consuming things laden with profanity constantly, guess who has a profane mouth?
Yeah. Yep.
Like if that's all you're listening to, that's what you're going to say. I mean, I used to be a sailor. Like when we met, he was like, okay, this man's never had an issue with, he's had the cleanest mouth I've ever met in my life. In fact, men at work would like grown men that were just like, blah, blah, blah. Sailors would just make fun of him because they're like, you ever cuss? Man, I ever, golly heck.
There are times in my life, obviously. But...
Oh, well, we all get like super mad, but I'm just talking about like in general, you've just never had that issue. You've never been a person who cusses, not really ever. It's just not who you are at all. I, on the other hand, just the way I grew up and like who I was around and just, no excuses, but I just was always like a total potty mouth. So he's helped me become the person I wanted to be, where I just wasn't part of my language. Like I can rise above that, and I don't have to have that be part of my constant language. However, when I get around that all the time, I'll have friends who are just, that's not who they are. That's fine. That they're just potty mouths, honestly. Yeah. And he'll know when I've been in a conversation with them for an hour and I come have a conversation and stuff comes out of my mouth. He's like, whoa, back the truck up. Hold on. Did you get off the phone with so-and-so?
Right.
Because it'll start, whatever you put in, I'm just making an example because it'll happen within not very much time for me because my brain is processing that verbiage.
Yeah.
And then it'll just fly out. You've had days where it happened one time. I remember you on the phone in the car and it happened. An F-bomb flew out of your mouth and both of us stopped the conversation in shock. Because I don't think I've ever even heard him say the word.
I was shocked myself.
He goes, what just happened to my mouth?
Yeah.
And it's just like,
and it's
a
fine. Lot of times you hang out with the guys or whatever else, you're hanging out with in a certain environment.
Yeah.
And certain things start to come out, certain habits. But think about this.
It's just an example, right? By the way, I'm not picking on everybody.
Right. But think about this in a different way. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone? Maybe it's someone in your life, a sibling or a child or a friend, okay, that they just drain your energy.
Oh, right? Yeah. We all have a person in our life that drains our energy.
Or maybe even a coworker, or just drains your energy, and you get off the phone with them or you get out of the conversation with them and you are just spent. You might as well have ran a marathon. You're just tired. Mm-hmm. And it's like that every time. And you kind of know this going into the conversation.
Yeah, you like braced yourself.
And yet they didn't do anything to you. You didn't run a marathon. Mm-hmm. You're just in a conversation. That conversation is so taxing. Okay, it does drain your energy. It drains your mind, and you're like, well, where'd that time go? Yet you have these other people in your life that feed into you, that
they fill you up.
They fill you up, and you're getting out of the conversation, and you are pumped. Your energy is.
Yeah, you're ready to take on the world.
Right.
Yeah,
you're just ready to go, and you could take on the world, and you don't have a worry in the world at all.
And it's the same for content that you're consuming, like movies or TV or music or reading a book or a podcast or whatever it is that you're consuming in your mind.
Yes.
That's the same. It's the same way. So fill yourself with things that produce out of you the person that you want to be. Because now I don't try to be this person. This is just who I am. This is just everything's, all my connections have been made. I continue making more, but it isn't something I'm trying to do. I am this person. So you can, over time, and not actually that much time, create in yourself a person who approaches life in this way. We bring up these different examples because this is something you can control. You can control this in a world. That's all I hear when I say in a world where you're out of control, in a world where you are dealing with heart disease, or you're dealing with family issues, or you're dealing with work issues, or whatever things that are stressing you out all the time. And that includes heart disease, I'm sure. The things that you don't have control over, right? You're feeling like everything's out of control. I don't have control over my world. A friend of mine said this to me the other day. I feel like I don't have control over my world and it's making me crazy. Like I'm over it. And exactly. So what you do have control over is how you consume things, is how you regurgitate them, like what you put out, what you put in, that's all under your control. The way you see things, the way you choose things, everything about yourself is 100% within your control. And that's how God designed it to be. But so often we give our control away to all of our outside influences, other people, our job, our stressful situations, the lies that the enemy tells us, the lies that we tell ourselves, the lies that other people tell us. Ooh, the power that we give, the lies that other people tell us. From childhood all the way up until relationships, to doctors, by the way, not all doctors, but the bad ones. A doctor told my daughter the other day that her pain's probably from nothing. What a load of crap. Obviously it's not. So what a lie. I'm not going to give power to that past the few hours that I was upset, and it's over. I don't think that's true. It doesn't control us. I chose to move on. You know what I mean? I'm not going to take that and then put it on my patches that I'm collecting of negativity. So, it's something that you have to realize that no one's stopping you from making these shifts in your mind and in your spirit. Laughter, the reason we're talking about laughter, all the things that we just talked about, start with something as easy as laughing. And that's why this is so powerful, because who doesn't want to laugh? And it doesn't matter what you're laughing at, by the way. You could be, look, if you're in a dark place, I have a weird sense of humor. I love humor so much. And tell me if you agree with this, because this is just my own explanation. I have humor anywhere from like cheesy, cheeky humor, like from the olden days or whatever, like I'm dad jokes all day, puns, whatever. I think it's hilarious. To like sometimes dark humor. Like I have lines where I'm like, okay, that's a little, I don't know what, but I can go pretty far. Like, I think there's some stuff that I wouldn't even probably share on my Facebook because I don't want people to think I'm crazy. Doesn't matter what you're laughing at. Whatever you think is funny, do that. Okay. To shift your mind into a place where now you can have new thoughts. You can have new things that you're doing.
Yeah. Except for my family
your family's hilarious.
Yeah.
This is part of
don't don't go scaring some kids.
Yeah.
Don't go, making someone trip and laugh at them.
His family is all about like laughing at people's pain, laughing at like scaring the crap out of kids, and like
right.
That's
not good.
They're like the prank family. It's so true.
So, but
hey, your cousin Becky's watching.
Oh wow.
Hey guys.
Hi. I was
You're
right in the
thought process.
I was right in the middle of a thought, and
But you were talking about laughing at these different parts of humor, because if you think something's funny, if you're in a place where you're just like, well, I can't get on board on the train of like this cheeky humor, then don't. Whatever your humor is. That's why I said, what do you think is funny?
Earlier we were talking about trying to make that shift, in the middle of. You're going down this destructive train. You're on that train. You got your bags packed. You're fully on board. Yeah. You have settled into the destructive train and you're going down that road. And someone like me is saying, no, get off that, jump off. And you got to go this way towards a more positive attitude.
And you're like the Titanic.
And you're like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do that. This train is moving. I'm comfortable. I have all my bags packed. I'm here. I'm here for the duration.
Right.
And you're like, well, this is heading towards destruction. But you're like, at this point, you're like, well, this is what's working for me. And it's really difficult. But if you want that positive attitude, if you want to turn things around, you have to jump ship. You do have to make a drastic change. And it is hard. For example, we were challenged not a few years ago when my daughter first got diagnosed, and we were going back and forth to the hospital.
Oh my gosh,
hospital.
constantly.
Okay.
We lived at the hospital.
No sleep.
No.
The doctors they either weren't telling us what the answer was. They didn't know what the answer was. There was a lot of, and our daughter was in extreme pain. And so that was taxing, and we didn't have positive attitudes. We didn't know what it was. We were crying out to God. It didn't seem like he was answering us. He didn't seem like he had a response or even hearing us at the time.
So we were like, okay.
And so
what do we do?
We both, we got off track. We were on that destructive train. We got settled in. We're like,
I drank so much coffee. It's unreal.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. We're like, okay, no sleep, coffee. All right. Well, no answers. Okay. Then we need to figure out our own answers. And they weren't good answers. They weren't positive thoughts. They weren't seeing a better outlook. All those things that we talk about, it wasn't happening because we got settled in. We got stuck on that train.
Yeah. And by the way, how long ago was this?
Just a few years ago?
It's 2 years ago. So keep in mind, keep in mind, we all go through this.
Yes.
We're not talking about never going through stuff. So we're talking about when you're going through stuff.
Right. So the doctor comes, one of the doctors, actually I think it was the psychologist that came and told us that we had to help her by feeding her things that she, not physically, but mentally, feeding her things positive thoughts, things that she enjoys, helping her to find humor, because we knew humor was her thing.
Yep.
And we needed to find humor in everything, help her to laugh, help her to have fun, help her to distract her mind because she was in this pain cycle that she couldn't get out of. When the doctor first told us that, I was like, how am I going to do that?
Right. So we had to have somebody disrupt our pattern.
Right. Because it was like a splash of cold water. But because I'm frustrated, give me anything I could help my daughter with.
Well,
and I'm looking at some sort of physical therapy. If you have to give her some medication, tell me what's wrong with her. Yeah. And we'll do it. But then they gave me a practical thing. I'm like, you're nuts.
Now, here's the thing. Keep in mind, when we say he had to disrupt our pattern, it wasn't our regular pattern. It was a new thing we were dealing with, and we fell into old patterns.
Yes. Very, yeah.
We hadn't been that way in a long time.
And it's amazing how God will allow the enemy to put us into these different situations to help us grow and to help us.
And it has been a lot of positive growth since that guy said that to us. What you're saying is that ship, we had to turn that ship around
immediately,
because think about it. It's not for us. It's for our daughter. Who's writhing in pain.
We had to turn on a dime.
We had to show up. That's it. We had to show up for her in that moment.
And
we did.
But was it easy? Was it easy for us to do at first? No, it felt counterintuitive. I remember in the children's hospital, there was a little play area, and we're super tired and everything else.
Yeah.
But when we would take her there for those moments, she sounded like a whole new person.
Yeah, she was completely different when playing with the kids and being productive and playing with toys. And for those of you who don't know, by the way, she has connective tissue disorder and hypermobility. So it was it's almost like fibromyalgia, kind of, but it's a lot of body pain all the time. And so she still has it, but this was her figuring it out in the beginning. And it was really, really debilitating. I mean, nothing compared to what she's way, way better now. Yeah. But in the moment when we were learning how to deal with this, it was the truth that we heard from that doctor. So here's the thing. The truth makes people uncomfortable because it contradicts the lies that make them comfortable. Right?
Yes.
So we had lies telling us that we were totally fine feeling and acting the way that we were because the situation validated it and called for it. But it wasn't helpful or productive for the people involved, namely our daughter or us. So it doesn't matter if you are valid in your thoughts or feelings about dealing with heart disease. Okay, I validate you. But what about what's next? What's helpful though, right? So the lies that make us comfortable, the lie that says, you're valid. Again, the enemy's twisting the truth. True. So we're going to do something negative with it. You're valid in feeling this way. It's like revenge. You're valid in being angry, so revenge. Like, no, you're valid in being angry, so then something positive, right? But we want to be validated. The problem with being validated is often as humans, we take that into a negative action cycle after that.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, I'm validated, now I'm going to do something productive.
Yeah.
We need to be validated first. I get it. So you're validated in your thoughts and feelings over how angry you are about heart disease. I understand that. And we've been very angry about all kinds of medical things too in the past. But what's productive and will actually shift our situation is not continuing in that thought process. And laughter, when we started implementing this with her, now, just the other night, 3 nights ago, she was sitting on the floor waiting we do nightly prayers together as a family. And she was sitting there waiting and she's like, she's like in pain, right? She's dealing with chest pain lately. Don't worry, we've done all the doctoring. It's not a heart problem, but just happens to have it in her chest wall right now. So this is what she's been dealing with recently. So she's sitting there and it's like, she's having issues with like having to take a deep breath and it's kind of wiping her out. And this is what she's been dealing with recently. So it was a bad night. We have good nights and we have bad nights. So it was a bad night. And she was really like, man, she's just like wiped. And I could see that this is what was going on. So I decided to make her laugh. So I'm telling her jokes, I'm tickling her belly, I'm messing with her, and I know exactly what buttons to push to make her laugh genuinely. And she knows I'm doing it. So she'll let me do it because she knows why I'm doing it and she likes it, right? She wants to get out of this. And I'm making her laugh and I'm monitoring her. I had her oxygen thing on her finger. I'm making sure that she's okay. And I took that off and I was like, okay, so we're playing and we're waiting for dad, right? Because dad was still coming on his way for bedtime. So we're laughing. Within 10 minutes, we had a good night, a nighttime. She was laughing. She had managed to get out of that cycle that she was in, the pain cycle. Now, she was still in pain. Keep in mind, she's still in pain all the time. But she's able to deal with it with the right mindset and the right manageable level because she can she's learned all these tools from like a biofeedback doctor and the psychologist and stuff. Like she's got tools and resources that she can implement that make it manageable. But laughter is her number one tool.
Yep. Keep in mind that most medicines don't work on her.
Yeah. No pain meds work. None.
Pain meds don't work.
They've done every pain medication.
So this is the only thing we got. And it's the only thing that works.
Yeah. So, and then physical therapy and stuff like that.
Sure.
But as far as getting her to a point where she can manage this and be productive and actually do what she wants to with her life, laughter is her number one tool. Absolutely. And so this devotional talking about how these people got through life and had had longevity because of laughter. And by the way, you make a good point, especially considering their lifestyle. Yeah. The fact that they lived that long with their lifestyle had to have been laughter because there's no way they lived that long smoking like a chimney.
Yeah. I mean, if you go just again, Lucille Ball, just think about her life and her personal life and what she went through. Oh my gosh. It's amazing.
Yep.
But let's say, look, I didn't get to say bye to Rita. Rita, if you see this on replay, I hope you have a good day. Thank you for joining. And I know you got to go. We kind of went a little long today.
That's okay.
But that's all right. Hopefully you could catch the rest later. And again, I hope this is added to your day, some good value to your day today. Mm-hmm. We're talking about laughter. We're talking about humor. And today we're just talking, we're getting down to it. Why today? I know it was joking around about,
keeping you young, living long,
but it does help feed our body. The whole point, it heals our body. It helps us it does. If you stack it on one another, it does help us live longer because joy and happiness does bring that life back into us. It helps lead us to good decisions, good habits. Those are all good things for a full and happy life. And that's what we're about here. Mm-hmm.
Right.
But we're getting down to it. Why and what makes this happen? What makes that happen? So all all of what we talked about today, I hope that helped you. I hope it added value to you today. If it did, please hit like. And if you have someone in your life that you want to share this with, feel free. Please share this with your friends and family.
Definitely. And if you're watching from our YouTube channel, make sure you share from there and like and comment. We want to get into a conversation with you. And if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you can get notified for any future broadcasts or content that we post on our channel.
Yep. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and we will see you later.
Bye-bye. God bless.